I would say that unity is hard. As a guy, as just me personally, my wife says, "Hey, let's go to the store." I'll be like, "All right." She'll be like, "Hey, let's do this." I'll be like, "All right." It's kind of like I just allow myself to be run over almost. I don't really care to invest in too much because I'm just so laid back. But I realize that, like in marriage, my voice matters, her voice matters.
Coming live on your radio. What they want? That real and raw. How they get it? DJ Focus. What we doing? Making music, reaching the corner, and it's all for the kingdom. And we gon' make sure they know it. Ooh, 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 ooh. We gon' take it there. I like red letters over trap beats to fix it, saying ooh. DJ Focus, tell him turn you up. Ooh. DJ Focus, tell him turn you up. Ooh.
Welcome back. DJ Focus, Dice Gamble. You tap back into the Fixx, your source of faith-infused hip-hop, R&B, and poetry. It's time for our spiritual detox, and we got a special one for y'all today. When I tell you, we talk about, man, who really got these bars, man, in our space, man, in this faith-based and Christian hip-hop space, and who got all the metaphors and double entendres, and really think you know about faith and spirituality, but just reminds you that we can do it at a high level. We've been playing this young man's music for a while, and we're excited to get him on and talk about everything he got going on: kingdom marriage, music, the state of Christian hip hop culture, faith-based culture, hip hop itself. Listen, the one and only Weez, the Satellite Kid, is joining us. What's going on, brother?
What's happening, man?
Man, I appreciate you, man, taking some time, man. Again, man, we've been a fan from afar, man, for a little while, and been sitting with you for at least a couple of years now. I would say at least a couple of years since I've noticed you.
Yeah.
And you've been putting the work in, man. Like I say, man, I think you like a silent assassin. I think people know about you, but they don't know about you. So I'm grateful that you joined us today. So come on, man. First, share a little bit of the journey, man. You know, what is maybe one or two things that God has shown you in your faith walk and your faith journey over the years that maybe you didn't know about yourself maybe 5, 6, 10 years ago?
Man, that's a loaded question. What does he show me?
Mm-hmm.
Um, that even in my perfection, he still gets the glory. Even in my imperfection, he still gets the glory. Um, like in general, I try to be the best dad and best husband I can be, and even when I don't know, um, he still shows me grace through it all. Like through my kids, and he shows me who he is through my kids, through my wife, and so just in general, just him having grace to build me who I need to be, and in turn use me to help them grow as believers. So yeah, um, man, it's so much. Uh, Also just excellence. I teach my son. I talk to my wife. We talk about excellence all the time. Like when we do things, do them for the glory of God and do them the best of your ability. And so, um, for us, it's just kind of like even when it comes to marriage, even when it comes to I tell my wife all the time, I'm not finna go to these marriage conferences if we're not gonna apply it, right? So it's just pointless, and it's just like Bible. If we I'm not gonna. It makes no point for me to read the word and not apply it because it doesn't work if you don't apply it. And so that's kind of what God has been teaching me like as of late.
That's good. Thanks for sharing that. Let's dive a little bit more into. I'm glad you brought your wife up. You know, specifically, maybe share with the listeners because I think you've been doing a great job. You and your wife. Talk about the importance of having grace in a marriage and understanding as you guys grow together, not only in your word but also just individuals coming together and just trying to make this thing work and understanding how the covenant works over everything y'all got going in a marriage.
Oh man, unity is hard. I would say that unity is hard. Um, because like as a guy, as just me personally, my wife says, "Hey, let's go to the store." I'll be like, "All right." She'll be like, "Hey, let's do this." I'll be like, "All right." And it's not like it's kind of like I just allow myself to be run over almost, and I don't really care to invest in too much, because I'm just so laid back. Um, but I realize that like in marriage, my voice matters, her voice matters. So like when we move, real life example. Um, if we talk about paying off debt, right? We 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 talk about paying off debt, and that's the basis of what we want to do. We create a plan, create a plan, make it plain, and we move in that plan. And we define roles so that whenever certain things get hard, it's like, okay, cool, let's define roles. Like I work a lot. So it's like, okay, if I'm working a certain amount, um, I need to make sure I'm getting my responsibility done from my role, and she's getting her responsibility from her role. And so as long as we decide we're unified in how we're doing things, and we're going a certain direction, like and just communicating, like um, it's been really really good. Like especially lately, like marriage has been very very wonderful. Like just getting a vision and actually executing and taking the steps, and even in general, like um my wife checked me before we before we got on this interview, talking about, have you prayed yet? I was like, no, my son prayed for me, and then while I was stretching I prayed. But it's just um I think it's just dope, like just being unified and understanding the vision. Because like if it's up to me, I'll work and work and work and work and work and handle things. But my wife is like, yo, don't forget what God has told you to do. And so I think it's just her being like, us being unified, and her being like, she kind of like helps me stick to the vision, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. Why do you think so many kingdom couples are not doing that? Because we hear a lot of, at least we do all the time on the show, hear a lot of horror stories of, the disconnect within the household with not being able. You brought up a great example when you talk about finances and addressing debts. I
Yeah.
know a lot of married couples that go get into a marriage and they're like, no, that's your debt. This is my debt.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, that ain't kind of how the covenant and us coming together work. It's like we come together in all areas. So why do you think believers are struggling in that area when you talk about some kingdom marriages crumbling because they don't want to connect and unify like that?
I can speak on me personally. I
Okay.
think um I think there's a lot of pride. There's a lot of pride on both ends. Um I can say something, like I'm a natural, like I come from a whole line of teachers, right? My wife she's a very good communicator as well. She may communicate better than me. But just our understandings of things are just like night and day. And so like anything that's trying to come together and be unified and be as one, it's gonna be some friction. But like I tell my wife, I said arguments are okay. Arguments are just a back and forth. That's literally a debate is okay. It's back and forth. I said, what where people get it messed up is they start disrespecting. They start bringing all this other stuff into what we're trying to do. And so it's like, yo, like I just want to focus on, hey, let's take care of this debt. Let's talk about that. We can talk about all the other stuff, but how we're going to take care of the debt. And so it's just, I feel like sometimes we just get prideful. We get prideful. We think we know better. Um, this is this couple that we talked to. They was like, you just knowing your role in the marriage. Like if I'm the best cook for the situation, then what I'm saying, let me take the role of the cook. If I'm the best with the finances, let me take the role of the finances. Like it shouldn't be as big a deal as we want it, as we make it. Um, but yeah, me and my wife, we don't. It's our debt. It's our debt. So
Yeah, facts. What made you you and your wife and yourself just be more vocal in your art when you talk about your music and just talk about marriage and talk about family and everything? Where did that come from?
uh, I'm naturally expressive, like
Okay.
in art. My brother told me, he was like, if other people don't feel it, like if you don't feel it, other people won't feel it. And so that's kind of the direction I always took in my art. And because my wife is the closest one to me, whether we arguing, whether we feeling good, that's that's what comes out. And so like even whenever I write certain things, I write them down, and then I kind of, we talk and explain certain things. And my first one of my I guess my first EP that I wrote with her, I made it with all the good times in mind. Like I
Mm-hmm.
painted this picture of my wife like she never fails. And so, and I told her, I was like, that's how I want people to see you. I said, but as it started maturing, I was like, you know what? I was like, I want people to see the flaws of marriage and um the successes of marriage. And I was like, because all of it is the picture of marriage. And so my wife she's kind of a good sport when it comes to like just me laying stuff down, but I allude to certain things and I don't just say them 100% directly because my wife can't really defend herself over a track. Like she's not really like, oh, I disagree, I this like it's my perspective. And she also does a good job of saying like if I say, my wife has this, she also tries to be like, yo, how are you pointing people to God at the end, or what type of conclusion are you drawing? Are you just saying you're angry? Are you just saying this? Are you just saying that, and then not coming up with something? Or are you actually like giving people a conclusion and what to like practical steps of what to do? And so, but yeah, she plays a lot. She plays a big like piece to that. Like
Shouts out
she's
to your
amazing.
wife. She sounds like the super producer. She the super producer behind the scenes.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
I'm trying to
yeah.
get her into music. She's man, bro. So I mean, not to sway of anything. She wrote my 26th birthday. She wrote me a a song that I was
Mm,
completely impressed by, and that's when I knew I was gonna marry her. And since then, she has not been in the studio really. And so
okay.
I'm trying to get her into the studio because she is very, very, very. She's nice.
That's good. Listen, I appreciate you and her, working on those projects and making that project. I wish more faith-based artists would make real transparency projects about marriage and the struggles and the ups and downs, the good parts.
Yeah, yeah,
Besides you, I can only think of two other artists who have done it. Swoop has done a project, and Show Baraka has done a project that speaks to, marriages and, and just, spouses and stuff. So we
yeah.
need more of that in our space, more real music. Let's talk about it. When did you fall in love with hip-hop? Take us back. Take us back to that moment. What was the first project, whatever it may be, CD, tape, album? What was that first project that you sat with and you was like, oh no, this is it?
Oh man, bro, it wasn't really hip hop. I'll say
Okay,
that.
okay, go
Um,
ahead.
Life Jennings.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's a good project.
Life Jennings. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Listen, that's a good project. Shouts out to Life Jennings. He from I think somewhere in Ohio. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. I know he's somewhere from Ohio. I think it might have been Youngstown. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
familiar with that project. So wow. Listen, that's number. So you more fell in love with R&B music first before hip hop. So talk about that and how the R&B kind of shaped who you are as an artist.
Well, so in general, like my grandma, she used to listen to the old school,
Motown.
super old school. Work it out. Mm,
Oh, okay.
Work it out. She was doing that stuff, and so I connected that and just her blues. And my mom used to listen to R&B. And so, my mom and dad, they got a divorce when I was like 4. And so my dad used to listen to this Drew Hill, just heartbreak music. And so I would just listen to it, and I would just listen to how they said things, and the harmonies, and I just loved it. And so like I just like to this day I listen to Drew Hill. I still listen to Drew Hill. I listen to Silk. I listen to Three Piece. Like I used to listen to all of this stuff, and it motivates me to like even when my wife project, like I just love the harmonies. And and that's what I don't know. You know who Just Raised is.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's my boy. That's what we have in common. That's why we mesh so well, because he loves R&B. And so I just remember listening to all that stuff and just talking about how they talk about loving a woman, or talking about how, women, like a woman broke their heart. And I just listened to how they talk about it and just the melodies. And I just fell in love with it. Like, and this is way before I really knew what hip hop was. I think my first like true introduction to hip hop to where I was just engulfed in it was Ja Rule.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, and so and even Ja Rule, he was, where would I be without my baby? Like
Right,
he
right.
was still like a singing rapper.
Yeah, definitely a singing rapper, and he put out some hits. So let's be very clear, Ja Rule had
Yeah,
a
yeah,
good run before he ran into 50.
yeah,
Yeah, before he ran into 50, he had a good run. No,
yeah, yeah.
he had some hits.
Bars.
So in that, so I'm gonna ask you a fun question. If you got to pick one, because you brought up a few R&B group legends, in our space when you talk
Yeah,
about
yeah.
R&B legends. If you got to pick one, who you picking between Dru Hill, Jagged Edge, or Jodeci? Who you going?
Drew Hill. I gotta do
You
Drew Hill.
you still going Dru Hill?
It'll probably be in that order too. Drew Hill, Jagged Edge, and Jodeci.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So, come on. When did you know? When was that moment that you knew you was actually good? Like, it's one thing you maybe you start making some rap music, but like, when did you know you were like, no, I'm pretty decent as an artist. God has blessed me with a pretty decent gift. What was it? Was it one
I,
song? Was it a collaboration?
I was man, I used to send shout out to G&G. I used to send Stephen Val like poetry. I was at this point in time I was like 22, 23, and I used to send him poetry because I was heartbroken. And so, of course it links back to my childhood, my past. And I used to just write poetry. And he was like, "Bro, this is really good." He said, "You should join our group." And I was like, "Join y'all's group." And so to this day, like I don't say to this day, but like I always been like I don't like being in front of people. I don't like any of that, like public speaking. I don't like it. And so he was like, "Come on, let's do it, let's do it." And I was like, "Nah." And then I used to send some to my brother as well. And then you can look through my Facebook. I used to write it on there when I got confident enough because my brother was telling me it was really good. And so, a part of my brother's album, um, he would put together, and he would mix his words and my words, and he would put it together, and I would hear it and I would recognize it. And I was like, "Oh, this is really good." And my homie Orlando Williams, he was like, "Hey, bro, just do it." And if you ever hear his story about he first started recording off of a flip phone and a flip phone and like one of them earpieces. That's how he
Mm-hmm.
first became an audio recorder, right? And it was crazy. It's crazy. And he just was like, "Yo, you got to do it." And so he would force me, right? And he was like, "Yo, you got to, you got to." And I would get in the studio, and then I would rap, and I stop. I like, dang, dang. And he'll tell you, every time I used to go in the studio, I used to take my shirt off because I get so nervous. And
Mm.
I'll be in there with my basketball shorts and socks on, and that's how I record. And I told him, I was like, "Bro, if this is what God truly wants me to do, I said I need you to, like, if you think I can do better rapping, tell me." And so I would go in the booth, I would rap, and he'd be like, "Nope, do it." He'll stop. "Nope, do it again." And nope, do it again. And literally, and that's how I started rapping. And then I started hearing stuff, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds decent." And I started seeing glimpses of how good I could be. And then I started matching it up with other people, and people couldn't tell that I had been like 5, 6 months into rapping. And I was like, "Oh, I think I'm really good." And then as I started climbing, I was like, "Well, it don't really matter what they think. I feel like it matters what I like. You essentially make what you like."
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when I was like, "Okay." Like I started making what I like, and it started sounding exactly how I wanted it to sound. And that's when I was like, "Okay, I'm good. Regardless of what they think, I feel like I'm good at this." And so and from that point on, we just started. I went from, yeah, I'm here now.
You
I'm
here
here
now?
now. Yeah.
So come on, tell the people what you working on, man. What you got cooking now, man? You've been doing a lot of collaborations, but what you got going on personally? Are you working on an EP, album, mixtape? What can we expect this year?
Man, I'm supposed to be. I was supposed to. I'm on track 10, but I was supposed to be dropping 52 songs. I'm slowing down, so I'm about to
52
crank it up
songs.
again.
Wait a minute,
52.
slow down. Talk about the inspiration behind that. What inspired 52 songs? Like why were you doing that?
Man, Ecclesiastes is better to finish than to start. Patience is
Okay.
better than pride. And so, um, and anger labels you a fool. So for me, I realized that God been showing me that scripture for a long time, and people don't get inspired like I get inspired. And I have over 100 songs of inspiration in my computer,
Wow.
and that's not seeing the light of day. And I was like, you know what? Since I get inspired so frequently, I feel like I'm not stewarding what God has given me because it's just sitting. Like it's all this inspiration just in here sitting. Ain't no telling what it could do. Ain't no telling who it could help. And it's just sitting. And so
Mm.
like I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start releasing it. I'm gonna start being more consistent. And so as I've been releasing, like I was releasing, I got to like 9 or 10. Then I shifted gears a little bit. Started handling dad, making sure my household is in order, blah blah blah. And then on top of that, the I don't know if you heard of Thicker and Water.
Yes.
That one we had that sitting. Me and Just Ray's got a whole project sitting.
Wow. Wait a minute. Just sitting. What? Yeah, y'all gotta come on. Y'all gotta
It's
release this
sitting.
music, man. Come on.
Now he just released his joint, so he got we right
Oh,
we chilling right
okay.
now.
Okay.
Um, TLS got a project that I'm on.
Wow.
Um, I got a couple of features sitting out there, but essentially, I don't plan on releasing an album or EP till next year.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so I'm really piecing that together, like because I want it to be about my wife. I want the next one to be about my wife. I want it like literally all encompassing about marriage. And so um yeah, that's why I'm not just saying, hey, I'm gonna do a project. I'm piecing that together as I'm just letting off these singles. And then I'm also trying to get into sync licensing. So it's a lot going on.
Smart man getting into sync license. That's the very smart man. A lot of
Yeah,
a lot of artists in our space need to realize that a lot of people are capitalizing off of that sync placement. Shouts out to
yeah,
Derek Minor. Shouts out to Andy Mineo. Yeah, coming off hot. I can go down the list. Derek Minor got in all type of spaces. So cash
yeah,
in on
yeah.
that, brother. You know what? Come on, man. I don't think the people really know about these bars too much, man. Pick any song, man, or just give me 8 bars from any song and break down the meaning of it, man, for the people, man. Any song, 8
Oh,
bars, and just break down the meaning, man.
ah, dang, it's a lot of songs, bro. That's a lot of songs.
Come on,
Uh,
pick one. Pick 2. It don't matter. 8, 16, go on, spit something. Let the people know.
so my favorite, I don't know. I think my favorite may not be everybody else's favorite. Um, I say I am conscious, contemplate my decisions, conflicting though I'm confident, proudness on dissension. Dog on Weez the satellite, flow from other dimensions. They'll say that that's a stretch because they starting to feel the tension. God is in my movement by nature. We congruent. Though the air get wild, the Holy Spirit of grooming. The lack of concentration that means that something's diluted. I've been searching through the sewage, through trauma, birth, and delusion. Uh, I said my character's been crafted. I stagger, but I ain't stagnant. Why place value in the graph when the value's being engrafted? Tippy toe and tight ropes, devilish schemes and tactics. Master to the masses, but daddies just hit more masterfully. And so, for me, right, I say a lot, and it's just I try to pack my bars with a lot of stuff, so you can just sit over time and listen to it. But for me, like even that's the song we did with me, Cyrus Sonata, Mike Wise, Bill B. It's called Like Jesus. And so I had a conversation with a buddy, and he was like, "Man, uh, we've been doing it all wrong. Da 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 da. Um, we've been doing it all wrong. Blah blah blah. You need to start getting into music. You need to start getting on radio." And I said, "You got the plug?" He was like, "Yeah, man. You send me some songs, and we'll be good, right?" And I sent him a couple of songs. He was like, "Man, this you don't really say Jesus enough." And I kind of sat back And I was like, and I'm going through my catalog, and I was like, I don't really say Jesus. I make references. I don't say Jesus straight up. Like I don't every single time. Like I make all kinds of biblical references. I was like, but I don't really say Jesus. Um, and so that's why, and then that's how that song was birthed, like Jesus. It's like I am conscious. I contemplate my decisions. I'm conflicted, though I'm confident. My pridefulness is on dissension. Like dog on Weez's satellite. So um, just me just saying like, yo, I'm Weez's satellite. Like so, Weez's satellite kid is basically like they used to call me Weasel in high school, and then I got cool, and they started calling me Weez, and so Weez, and then the satellite kid is just like saying God's child because God is a satellite, and I'm receiving signal, and then I send, I send the message that God has, right, and keep people connected, right. Um, I say dog. I'm always a satellite. My flow from another dimension. They'll say that that's a stretch because they starting to feel the tension, and so for me, it's like, yo, I do this for the glory of God. So of course you're gonna feel the tension. Of course you're gonna feel challenged by what I'm saying because I'm doing it in excellence. And I say, but God is in my movement. By nature, we congruent. Like just by nature, like you can't get away from the image of God. Like it's in you, regardless if you deny him or not. It's in you. I say, and though the air get wild, so just being co-heirs with Christ, when the air get wild, so it's a play on hair and air get wild, the Holy Spirit of grooming, because the Holy Spirit keeps you in line, right? It leads you, um, and it helps you. It just helps you grow, right? Uh, um, I said the lack of concentration that means that something's diluted, and so like for me, sometimes I'm either hyper focused or not focused. So like when it comes down to certain things, it's just like I realize that if I'm not focused, that means that I've been taking in the wrong things. And so I've been watering stuff down and I've been saying, hey, look, this is okay and that's okay when it wasn't okay. And I haven't been taking as much word, as much been trying to be intentional about my focus as I need to be. Um, uh, I say I've been searching through the sewage from trauma, birth, and delusion. Um, so I just like that's just me checking my heart. Like I've been searching through everything that's going on with me, from trauma, from my past things, whether it's my pops, whether it's, past relationships, whether it's just situations like this trauma births a delusion that like, yeah, all women cheat, or all such and such is, all black people this, or all da da da, like just trauma birthing this lens that I'm looking through. And so, I've been trying to like pinpoint those and just pick it out. And so in turn, it's like my character's been crafted. I stagger, but I ain't stagnant. Um, it's like if I fall, I fall forward. If I fall, like it ain't like even rest is a forward movement. Um, why place value in the graph? So it's like why place value in like numbers, and why place number value in numbers and everything else when the value is being engrafted in God's family, right? Um, I said tippy toe and tight ropes, devilish schemes and tactics. So I'm looking at everything, I'm digesting everything, and I was like, I may be massive, to the masses, but Daddy just hit more masterfully. So it's like regardless of how everybody sees me, whether I'm Drake's level, whether I'm not, like in perspective, when my son, when my daughters say Daddy, that's my first ministry. That's my first. That hit way more masterfully than, hey, bro, you the goat, you the best rapper alive, you this, you that. Like, I'd rather hear Daddy. I'd rather hear Dad, you my superhero. Dad, I want to do what you do. And so, but yeah, that's. I
That's
mean,
fire. That's fire. No, thanks for sharing that, man. Them lyrics for the minds right now. Come on, man. Tell the people, man. Appreciate you coming through, man. Tell the people how to connect with you, follow you on all your social media platforms, as well as introduce one of your singles.
oh man, you can follow me at Satellite Kid, Weezy Satellite Kid, or Satellite Kid on all streaming platforms. Um, Man, I don't really. I got a lot of songs out. I guess my favorite one is Attitude. That's my favorite right now. Attitude. Um, it's about my wife, so it's out now.
Keep it locked. You tuned into the Fixx. You know the Fixx is